Hey guys, Will here. Welcome back to Model from Resin Chair. This is episode 5 of my 1/350 scale, the original series Enterprise build. Left off last time, I had sealed the saucer up. I've been working on prepping it, getting it ready for its final coat of paint. I've done a couple of primer coats, sanding it with it was 1000 grit sandpaper, priming it again, checking the seams. I think I finally got my seams good, and I think she's ready for her final coat of paint. So we'll try to get that done here. I want to talk about the paint a little bit, and then there's a couple other things I want to talk about. And then we'll try to get into the paint this episode. If not, when we start off the next episode, I should have this painted, ready to go. But for now, let's take a look at a couple other things. Give me a minute, put you on the table, we'll get to work. Alright guys, so here's where I'm at right now. Like I said, I've pretty much got my saucer primed up. Took care of that seam for the most part around the saucer edge here, and got it primed up. I'm trying not to handle the bottom too much because she hasn't dried much yet, but I've got the top all primed, ready to go. I had to switch between my Tamiya light gray primer and my Tamiya fine white primer because I ran out of light gray, and when I went to the hobby store today they didn't have any, and I don't want to have to wait another week to get this part done. So she's all primed up. All the window coverings are in place, and she's ready to be primed up or painted for final coat. I do want to talk about that final coat of paint for a minute. Let me get this out the way. Set it precariously on the edge there. But so for the paint, excuse me, paint I originally talked about. I was thinking about just going straight JN gray, this XF12 from Tamiya, which is what a lot of people use for it. And people had mentioned before that they tone it down with the XF2 flat white. And after looking at it, I tend to agree with them. I think it does need to be lightened a little bit. How much is up to you. I'm still kind of in between. Yeah, I don't know how well this will come out on camera, but if you could see, this one here is the original, just plain straight JN gray, which is the XF12. And then this one down here is a mixture of two parts XF12 and 1 part XF2. And then this one up here is a mixture of 1 and 1. It's a 1-to-1 ratio of the XF12 and XF2. So this has a little bit more of the green to it. This one tends to look a little more gray. And this one don't even look at because that was something else I was trying out and it was way off. So I think I'm going to go with the 2 parts XF12, 1 part XF2 though, because it does still have a lot of that nice, greenish hue to it. I think this might be just a little bit lighter than I want to go. Because I ordered and I'm considering using. I've ordered them, don't know if I'm going to use them on this build or wait till next build, but I did order the weathering decals that Polar Lights puts out for these, or for the 1/350 original series. So when you use those, I think it calls for you to use straight XF12, because those decals are going to lighten it a little bit when you put them on. But like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to use them yet, so I kind of want a little bit lighter. But I don't want to go too light with it. So I think the 2 parts XF12, 1 part XF2 is what I'm going to end up going with for this. So a little bit of change up there. Thought I was happy with it. The problem I ran into was, I talked about it, I think I mentioned on the last video, that it's a pretty good shade just to go straight XF12 if you're not going to be using any gray background. Well, I didn't take into consideration I've got to paint, or you have to paint some of these accents a gray color. And I think when I painted the gray accent color, it just didn't offset enough with the darker color. It just was too dark to me. So I think the slightly lighter color is going to go better with that darker gray. It's not a dark gray accent, but it's like a medium gray. But I think it's going to go better with that. So that's what I'm working on with that. I did get my pylons done. They're both worked up. Finally got the seams done. Seams are good on these. And one thing you got to take into consideration with these is the newer remastered version that has all CGI graphics. They light these windows on this pylon. They're lit. But on the original model, they're not. So I just went ahead and just went with just not lighting these. If I wanted to light them, I could use, I've got some SMDs. I could put SMD up in there and get those lit up. Shouldn't be too hard. But I've decided that since the original model wasn't lit, I'm just going to leave these dark. And I've already blacked them out on the inside and everything. So I got these sealed up. Make sure you use plenty of glue on these. These really need to be strong. As everybody knows, the original 1650, 1537, whatever you want to consider it, the original model had issues with the pylon sagging. So they've done a pretty good job of bulking these up, but make sure you use plenty of glue so you get a good solid build there on these pylons. So those are done. Saucer section is almost done, ready for its first coat of paint. The pylons are ready for their first coat of paint. I try to get as much of this together so I don't have to do a whole lot of paint, clean, paint, clean. I try to get as many of my subcomponents done and ready for paint as possible. Haven't started on the secondary hull yet. I've been trying to clean up some of the flashing in these windows. And the interconnecting dorsal, the neck, I want to share something with you on that. Now Boyd over at TrekWorks, I'm glad he turned me on to this because he's been talking about, he talks about in his latest build video for his original series that he uses solar res. And the problem with the solar res is that it's very pricey. If you haven't looked, it's 2 ounces is about $35. And 2 ounces is it's not a lot. So if you were to do all your windows with that, you'd probably use a whole bottle for each model, depending on how you do it. Now, I had mentioned before that for the rest of this build, the neck, the secondary hull, I'll use the kit windows. But what I'm doing is, what I want to do is I've been using the micro crystal clear. And I use that on the saucer section to fill in the windows to help make them flush, and I've been sanding them. Well, it does work for the most part trying to sand them. You really have to let it set up real good. But even doing that, I was getting mixed results. Some of the windows, when I would go to sand them, they would kind of turn into more like a soft rubber, almost like the glue you would use in school. And it just didn't look good to me. It wasn't clean, and some of the windows weren't clear. They were more opaque than others. So I really like the idea when Boyd was talking about the solar res, but it's kind of cost prohibitive to use a lot to do all these windows with. But so what I did was I went on Amazon and I found a similar product, and this is UV resin. The brand name is Decals, which I guess is supposed to be pronounced decorum, but there's the label for it there. It's on Amazon, and I only paid 16 bucks for this, and it's 120 grams, which comes out to like 4 1/4 ounces. So it's over twice as much with this as what you get with the solar res, but it's like half the price. I only paid, I think, $16.99 for this. Now it says that's the Amazon Prime member price. Now, I don't know if you're not a Prime member if it costs more. It says that the list price is $28. So even if you pay the list price, you're still getting over twice as much as what you would get with the solar res bottle, and it's still a little cheaper. So I went ahead and I ordered this stuff. It came in. I also ordered a small little UV light. This is a Light FE. Hold that up so you see the box on that. But I ordered both these off Amazon. I think the light was like maybe $22 or somewhere around there. So together, both of these, I think I spent $39, maybe $40 on both of these together. So about $5 more than what you'd pay for that 2 ounce bottle of solar res. You could get the UV flashlight and a big bottle. I'll show you the bottle on this. Nice big bottle of the UV activated resin. So to test it out, I took my neck and I filled, remember I used the original windows, but there's still, as you can see on, if it comes up on camera, and you can see my view screen's done cut out on me, so I have no view screen to go by. But the windows aren't quite flush. There's still a bit of a indentation there, except for these two windows up here seem to fit pretty good, but the rest of these are pretty, they sit back a little bit. And but as you see on this side, I filled this side in using this UV resin from Decals, and used my little flashlight and filled them in and went back, sanded them down with I used a 220 grit, but you could use like a 300 or higher. But I used a 220 to sand it, and then I came back with my 800 grit wet dry sandpaper and followed up with that and smoothed it out. And again, I don't know how well these will show up on camera, but these are excellent. It's sanded smooth, it's perfectly flush with the hull. You can't even tell that it's not even part of the actual model. It's a very tough resin once it's hardened, and I mean, that's tapping on it. It sounds the same as just if you tapped on part of the model. It's pretty solid. So it's really good stuff. I don't know these people. I don't know the company that sells it. I haven't even gotten around to leaving a review on it, but really good stuff. Really a lot less expensive, especially if you're a Prime member. A lot less expensive than the Solo Res, and it works great. And I'll show you real quick what I do, what I've been using these, how I've been using this to fill in these windows. I've got the kit back, the kit windows in here, and I'm just taking my my little tip here, my pointer, one of my my little picks here, and I just get a little bit, not too much on there, just a little bit on there. And I take it and I drop it in the window, and I just work it around in there. And I put enough in there to make it flush, at least flush with the hull, if not slightly a bubble above it. And that's pretty flush right there. So you put it on there, take your flashlight, and you hold it on there about 15 to 20 seconds. Now I can do a couple of these windows at a time. All I got to do is pull the flashlight back a little bit, and it's a little wider. But if I just want to do one window, I can do one window. If I want to do a couple at a time, I can. If you're doing a large piece, they recommend you get one of the nail dryer UV lights, and you can set the piece under that and just let it sit there for 2 or 3 minutes, and it should be good. But this, because I'm using just a very small amount, only takes about 15 to 20 seconds to harden up. And I'll show you here now. I want to get that on there. You can see that's hardened. So sets up pretty easy. And I'll sand this and show you. And you can sand it right away. You don't have to wait a long period of time for this stuff to set up, like I was having to do with the micro crystal clear. You'll know you're there when the white, because where the rest of the resin was, it'll be a slightly lighter color. So you just sand it until you get down to where it's just that square window showing. And I'll come back with my 900 grit, but you can use an 800 grit, or anything over 300, 350 should be pretty good as far as priming it, and it should fill it in. There we go, filled in. And again, I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but it's perfectly flush. It's set, and you're done with it. Like I said, this stuff is awesome. I'll do the rest of the windows like that later. I don't want to sit on camera doing it and hold you guys up watching me fill in sand windows, but you get the idea. Just take a little bit, dab it in your window until it's flush. Sometimes I'll do it till there's just a little bit of a bubble over top if you look at it from the side. And hit it with the light for about 15-20 seconds, come back with some sandpaper, sand it down, and you get a nice flush window. And I mean, it looks awesome. So just a recommendation there if you guys want to try some UV resin and you want it for a decent price. I can vouch for this stuff here. It definitely works. It's great. So try that out if you wish. But what I'm gonna do now is see if we can't get a coat of paint on this saucer section and see how it's turning out with that mixture. And we'll come back and we will take a look at it. So give me a minute. We'll be right back. Hey guys, so here we go. This is the main coat of paint is on there on the underside. I haven't done the top side. I've based on Boyd's recommendation over Truckworks, I actually ordered some of the matte wheel paint from Duplicolor, and hasn't gotten here yet. So I want to get a protective coat on this side before I take any chances flipping it over to do the other side. So we'll pick up on painting this on the next video. Just wanted to show you too, I just had I know people have asked if you can use a like one of these larger air pumps. You can, they're noisy as heck. The only thing you gotta do is I got my Grex airbrush on here, and the Grex Airline, and that runs down to this filter, which I picked all these parts up to do this from I think it was either Lowe's or Home Depot. If you got a Harbor Freight, you can pick them up there, but you just got to get a standard. It's a standard size nipple that goes to this disconnect, and you just put the fitting on the end for this air filter. You get that, like I said, it's air filter dryer. You can get that from Lowe's or Home Depot where they have their air compressors at. Usually over around their lawnmowers and all that. But you can pick that up. You just get the, I think it's like a 1/4 inch nipple, and 1/4 inch on this side. And then I'm sorry, but I forget what the fitting size, but there's an adapter that I got from Grex that takes us down from 1/4 to whatever the standard size is here on the airline, running out to the airbrush. So you can use one of these as long as it's got a pressure regulator, which mine has, and I usually keep it right around 45 for the most part, because as soon as I start airbrushing, you can see it drops down. And I hope the camera's picking this up. I don't have a viewfinder on it, but so I usually put around 45. When I start airbrushing, it drops down to around 35, 40 psi, and that's worked out pretty well for me. But I just got a temporary setup here, and but anyway, this is how I paint. I've got my airbrushes I use. I've got this Grex, and it's a Grex Genesis XT, I believe, or GT is XTA. So I've got that, and that's actually why I didn't have a video out last week. I dropped it and I broke the cup off. So I ordered 2 of them. I got one here, and I got a backup just in case it happens again. So, but anyway, the Grex is what I use for my larger painting, and then I've also got a Badger. I'm trying to do this with one hand. I got this Badger Patriot Extreme 105 that I use for more of the fine detail stuff. But that's what my paint setup is, in case anybody was wondering. I don't have a fancy paint booth or that yet. It's just a table I just set up on top of an old cat tree. So, but anyway, got the first top coat on. I'm going to let that sit until my my matte clear coat comes in, and then we'll cover that. And then once that dries, I'll flip it over. I'll do the other side, and we'll be done with that. The color, I like the color. It turned out pretty well. So that's where we're at with that. Give me a minute, and we'll get back to the table. Hey guys, so we're back on the desk, and what I did was I went ahead and I removed some of the, well, all the window masks from the bottom of the saucer section here. There's a couple of the smaller round windows I'm not too happy with, so what I may end up doing is drilling those out and using the UV resin to fill them in, because it seems to be doing a better job of filling them in and letting the light through than the micro crystal clear has been doing. So the bigger windows are fine, but some of these smaller windows, I'm just not liking how much light's coming through them, or the lack of, I should say. So I'll probably just take one of my my small drill bit here and drill them out and, like I said, fill them with some of the UV resin. Should be pretty easy to do, and if I need to, I can put another top coat over it to fix any marks I might put on it while I'm doing that. But I think I can do it without making it too big of an issue. So, like I said, I'm gonna let this sit. I've got my matte clear coat coming in the mail. Should be here middle of the week, and we'll get that put on there, and that way, then I'll feel comfortable flipping this over and putting the coated panel on the top side. And another thing I already did too was I went ahead and I finished filling in those windows. So as you can see, they're see if I can. They're nice and flush. And let me plug some power in, and we can take a look at it. Turn this light off. So and we have our lower saucer section. You can see the lights on it. Lights up pretty good. I'm happy with that. And as far as our next section here, or interconnecting dorsal as they call it, you can see that red window I did, and I like the way it's lighting. The way I did the red window on this, like I said, I put the clear parts in like they're supposed to be. I took some Tamiya clear red and I put it over the outside of that clear part, and then I used the UV resin over top of it and sealed it in. And the color coming through is really nice. I like it. It's not overly bright. So I like the way it's lighting up. So my next thing is going to be to put the window masks, which I've got right here. Put the window masks on this next section, on the neck section, and get a coat of paint on that as well, which I'll do that when I do the top section of the saucer. So as soon as I get all that, get my matte clear coat in, we'll be ready to move on and get that painted. And I'll be working on, what I'm going to work on too is start working on this, the next video hopefully we'll start working on this secondary hull here, and start getting that all together. I've got a lot of work to do as far as the, I haven't even started on the hangar yet, on the shuttle bay, so I got to start working on that. But we'll start doing some work to this hopefully in the next video. But until then, appreciate everybody subscribing. So thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Hopefully you find the information useful. If you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to, but if you find information useful, at least hit that thumbs up button down the bottom. Let me know that I'm doing something right. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Keep tuned in. I'll try not to disappoint. Until next time, keep modeling.